Yes, all of them. The Wii U is my favorite console, as evidenced by the fact that I have every single game for it. Now, I just want to talk about what I like about the console. Now, of course, in the modern day, I'm not going to recommend you buy a Wii U for your modern gaming fix, because it's not a modern gaming console. But I just want to talk about the hardware, the software, features I like, because some of this stuff people might forget about or not realize, or at the very least, maybe it's not appreciated as much, in the wider circles. And I know people have been asking about, what's better, the Wii U or whatever, right? But I just want to give you my side here. So first of all, let's start with the hardware. Obviously, the gamepad is pretty cool. There's no denying that. So anyway, let's just get on to the rest of the features, because this thing is pretty loaded. So let's just talk about the features of just the gamepad specifically. Obviously, the biggest feature is this huge screen. Now, the screen is 480p, which, of course, I would love for it to be 720p. It'd be great. It'd be better to play games, portably, if you want to. But it's meant as a secondary display. It's not meant to be the primary display. This is a home console, all right? And people like to say, it's the proto Switch or whatever. That's dumb. This is clearly meant to be a completely different idea than the Switch. They say, oh, this was just a stepping stone to the Switch. No, it wasn't. This is a completely different thing. This is meant to be a DS for the home console. The Switch is not even trying to be that. The Switch is a portable system that you can plug into your TV. That's not what this is. Anyway, so the features, obviously, big touchscreen, that's great. And the thing about the touchscreen is, it's not a capacitive touchscreen like your smartphone, so you can't do multi-touch or anything like that. But the thing that's great about this is because it's capacitive, it includes a stylus, which is great because it's more accurate when it comes to, doing stylus-based things, like, for example, Super Mario Maker, which we'll get to. But it also has the NFC reader for Amiibo, which went unused for a while, but obviously now it works. Obviously, gyroscope and accelerometer and stuff, motion controls. It's got a camera here for, like, 2 games. TV control button, which is underrated. Well, nowadays, it's basically useless because most TVs are smart TVs, and this does not have smart TV features. But back in the day, before I had a smart TV, I was using this button a lot, surprisingly. It's also got a microphone for 2 games. A big home button with a LED in case you have notification. You're not going to have notifications anymore, but it was there. A sensor bar if you want to play Wii games just on the gamepad, which is a thing you can do. Some speakers and stuff, obviously just to, play. On top, it's got a headphone jack, the charging port, the volume slider, ZLZR, some big buttons, and this thing is really comfortable. That's the thing about this. This is a really comfortable controller. It's got a decent weight, but it's not super heavy. It's pretty great. The battery life sucks, but, I mean, it's got a huge screen on it. What do you expect? The thumbsticks are great. Now, this placement for this shape, for a rectangle shape like this with a big screen in the middle, this is the perfect placement for thumbsticks. Anything that has staggered thumbsticks on a shape like this is not going to feel as good. The D-pad's great. It's got a D-pad. Another thing to call out. Anyway, the buttons here, they could be bigger, but, it's fine. I never really had a problem with this. Of course, people complain there's no analog, but does it really matter? The thing that's great about this is it's just so versatile. Now, a lot of games use this. A lot of games didn't use it as well, but a lot of games did use it, and it worked out very well. Splatoon, the Zelda games, not Tropical Freeze. It's also great if you want to just check on something real quick, or you want to reorganize your games, or you're watching TV, doing something else. You don't have to have the TV on to use it. You can just press it, turn it on, and it'll go straight to the home menu, which is great, and you can interact the settings and stuff like that on here just on the gamepad. And if you're modding your console, you basically don't even need the TV for that. They made sure of that. And even, in fact, if you do turn on the TV while you're modding it, a lot of the UI elements are in 480p, because you're basically just meant to use the gamepad. Anyway, moving on to the Pro Controller. The thing about the Pro Controller is, this is a really good controller. People like to say it sucks. Well, first of all, let's just talk about the appearance of it, all right? The appearance, I think, is really slick. Look at this thing. This shape, it looks really good, and the gloss looks really good, aside from the fingerprints that you'll get, instantaneously, but that's beside the point. The buttons could be bigger, like I mentioned on the gamepad, but I mean, these buttons are pretty small, but, it's fine. The D-pad's really good. The thumbsticks are really good. They feel really smooth. The home button could stand to be bigger. It could be the same size as the one on the gamepad. That'd be nice. That would have been better. The trigger buttons could have been wider. That's fine. But other than that, I mean, this is a pretty good controller. The battery life is exceptional. It's the best of any controller I've ever seen. It's 80 hours. You'll never find this thing dead. this one is dead. Also worth noting, the charging port uses mini USB, which might seem weird, and it kind of was at the time. I think the PS3 used mini USB, but this was probably the best thing they could have chosen because USB-C didn't exist when this came out, and micro USB sucks. So mini USB helped, and like I said, 80-hour battery life. This thing can be charged in like 2 hours, so it's pretty good in that regard. There's a couple of things that annoy me about this controller. It's like I said, the size of the buttons. I wish the home button was bigger, you know, all that. But, and I will get to the thumbstick placement in just a sec, but I wish it had gyro. Gyro would be really nice. You know, for like Breath of the Wild doesn't support the game. Well, it does support the gamepad, but there's nothing on it. You know, games like Mario Kart 8, there's no gyro for that. Like I said, the Zelda games, Splatoon, you can't do gyro with Splatoon with a Pro controller. Well, I mean, you can, but nobody's gonna do that. And of course, NFC would be nice as well, but that doesn't really matter. For the most part, this is a pretty good controller. Everything else, I think, is really good. The weight is nice. It's relatively light. It's not too heavy, but it does have a little bit of weight to it. The thumbsticks feel really good. They're really smooth. The shape of the controller, like I said, it's great. The D-pad feels great. The buttons feel great despite being small. It's got a power button, which is kind of unique. It kind of doesn't need it because it could just be the home button, but you know, it's beside the point. Of course, it doesn't have a headphone jack, but there's not really any games that use voice chat other than Call of Duty, which we'll talk about Call of Duty, you know, in a little bit, but continuing on. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room. This thing has weird button placement, man. It's basically just a right stick on top. People complain about this a lot, and I think the main problem isn't the fact that the button placement is bad, because I don't think it is. In fact, I think it's pretty good, especially for first-person games. First-person games is what this would excel at. Now, there's not many on the Wii U, but it would excel at it because the primary inputs you're using for first-person games are a left thumbstick and a right thumbstick. So having these two right here, right where your thumbs naturally rest when holding a controller, is perfect if these are the primary inputs, which makes sense for first-person games. Now, Minecraft does this, which is great, and other than that, just Call of Duty, so it's kind of unfortunate, but it is the way it is. I know people don't like this. I think the reason people don't like this is not because it's bad. I think the reason people don't like this is because they're unfamiliar with it. They're not used to it. Muscle memory is a bitch. They don't like it, and to be frank, if the PlayStation controller was like this originally on the PS1 and the PS2 and the PS3, if Nintendo released a controller that had two thumbsticks but on the bottom like the PlayStation controllers do now, people would be complaining about that and say that that's stupid and bad. It's the same thing. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just you're not used to it, all right? And in fact, there was something that I saw that was extremely stupid. So, as you know, Black Ops 2 released on the Wii U. And the funny thing is, I was looking at reviews on Metacritic, and one of the reviews for the 360 version of the game, this person reviewed it at a 9 out of 10 for the Xbox 360 version. For the Wii U version, they rated it a 2 out of 10. Their complaint being that the Pro Controller's thumbstick is in the wrong spot. They mentioned literally nothing else about the game. In fact, they said the game is as good as the other versions. And they gave it a 2 out of 10 because they're not familiar with the controller. Well, that's great, right? That's probably the stupidest review I've ever seen. Now, there's been some dumb reviews, believe me, but that was probably the dumbest. But anyway, I just love this controller, man. There was an adapter to play this on Switch, and I do have it. I haven't used it in a while because, not that I don't want to use this, it's just like, I have no reason to. Now, of course, because the Wii U is backwards compatible, and in fact, with a lot of Wii U games, you can just use Wii remotes, which includes classic controller and nunchuck and all that. I don't have one here. I do have one, I just didn't feel like going to get it. And with Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, you can use this, the GameCube controller, which is great for that one game, but we'll touch on this in a bit. Point is, it's got a wide variety of controllers, and all of them, in my opinion, are pretty good. The point is, the Wii U has a lot of different controller options. Now, I didn't feel like unplugging it, but people always say that the Wii is a slick-looking console. The Wii U is just a slicker-looking Wii. Okay, now let's get into the games, and this is the thing that really confused me. So a lot of people said that the Wii U had no games or that it had bad games or whatever, and I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Because basically any game that released on Wii U that was in a pre-established series happen to be the best entry in that series. And now keep in mind, these are the best at their time. Now there might be a new version or whatever that's better now, but I mean like at the time it released, these were the best in their series. So let's just get into it. We have the best 2D Mario, the best 3D Mario, the best Paper Mario, the best Mario Kart, the best Yoshi game, the best Donkey Kong game, the best Pikmin game, the best Smash game, the best Zelda spin-off, 2 of the best Zelda games. Okay, well, 1 of the best Zelda games. The fan favorite Call of Duty. The best superhero game at the time. 2 of the best indie games ever made. A good Sonic game. A bad Sonic game. And then you have original stuff, like basically an exclusive Persona game. Super Mario Maker, which is better than the sequel. Splatoon, which is arguably one of the best games Nintendo has ever made, and is definitely better than the other 2. Bayonetta 2. Xenoblade Chronicles X. And then, of course, you have Just Dance. 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 And Just Dance. Yeah, so like 5% of the entire Wii U's library is just Dance. And then, of course, we have what is arguably the best game ever made, and it was made for the Wii U! Yeah, so basically my point is that I have no idea what the hell these people are talking about when they say the Wii U has no games. Alright, so now let's talk about the user interface. This thing is incredible. First of all, just look how plain this is. And by plain, I mean simple. Alright, so you've got just basically your profile, so your friends list, the Miiverse, eShop, just these, tools and stuff, whatever. And then you just got all your games. So that's it, right? None of this extra junk, nothing like the Game Pass or whatever the hell Xbox is doing. Xbox is just trash, by the way, with their interface. The interface sucks ass. Nothing's hidden between layers. It's just your games, all right? And then on top of all that, you got this, the Warara Plaza, which, by the way, sometimes the thing is the Switch, people always compare it to the Switch. Oh, the Switch is so fast. Oh, that's great. Yeah, okay, well, do you just leave the Switch up on your TV as like a display because it looks nice and sounds nice? Probably not, but I do that with the Wii U sometimes. The Switch, and also the funny thing about the Switch is they say how fast it is, which is great, right? All right, here's the thing, right? So people always like to say how the Wii U is super slow, right? They compare it to the Switch. Okay, well, my brother in Christ, like I said, aside from the lack of anything interesting going on the Switch's menu, the Wii U is not even that slow. So first of all, let's just see how long it takes to go to the home screen from this. Now on Switch is basically instant, which is fine, that's great, and yes, it is definitely faster, but is it agonizingly slow? I don't know, let's find out. Let's close software, close, let's see how long that takes. So to me, and I time this, it takes about 10 seconds. 10 seconds is not that long. Look, we're already back. Is this really that slow? Is it so agonizingly slow that you can't wait like 8 or 10 seconds? No, it's not even that fucking slow. I don't know what the hell these people are talking about. I never had a problem with it. That's me personally. Now, maybe if you're just used to things being instant, then yeah, that's great. But this is not really slow. Maybe I understand that at launch it was slow, but that's not a problem now. I don't know why people keep bringing that up. Another thing, I did mention this, but yeah, the Miiverse is great. It's a great feature. Now this here, I have Pretendo and stuff and juxtaposition set up, but back in the day, this is basically what it looked like. The Miiverse is such a great feature. It enhances games. Wind Waker HD, you'll see like the messages in the bottle, whatever, they pop up. Splatoon, perfect example. Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, on the Miiverse stage, you'll see, drawings and stuff about the characters that you're playing as. And then, Super Mario 3D World, you got the ghost data and stuff like that. People like the shit on the Miiverse or whatever, but the Miiverse was awesome. And the Switch doesn't really have anything like it aside from in Splatoon. They added that because they knew that it was such a good feature. Now here, obviously, as I said, I do have this console modded. And the thing is, that's really good about a modded console. And obviously the Wii U can play Wii U games. No shit. And Wii games, it's back compatible. But it never supported this officially, but it can natively play GameCube games. Now I put them all the way in the back because I haven't been able to move them, but the point is, Look at this, Wario World. And by the way, these are the arcade games. Mario Kart Arcade GP. We got Luigi's Mansion on here. Four Swords, whatever, Shadow the Hedgehog. And by the way, you can use the GameCube controller for these games, which is great if you really want to do that. But the fact that you can even do this, it's not even emulating them. This is just running them natively. So that's great. And the thing that's even better is, and the reason this works is because the Wii U, like I said, is the same architecture, and same thing with Wii. You can just inject the Wii games as well. And the Wii U also had Nintendo 64, Super NES, NES, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, TurboGrafx 16 emulators as well. So you can inject those games if you want to as well. This is basically the best thing they've ever made, at least in terms of playing video games. And by the way, I know some people will say, okay, well, the Switch is portable and you can plug it into the TV. Answer me this legitimately. Do you guys ever actually do that? Because I find myself never using the Switch portably. You know, it stays in the dock like 100% of the time. The only time I take it out of the dock is maybe I want to check the eShop real quick and buy a DLC. But that's it. It never leaves my house. It stays in the dock 99.9% of the time. It's just a home console. And because of that, I think the Wii U gamepad and the Wii U's gimmick is just better because it's a home console, plus it has additional features. And most of the time, it's completely optional. And in some games like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, it doesn't even use the gamepad. But of course, in the games like Super Mario Maker and Pikmin 3, you know, and Splatoon, it uses it very well. So just not having this ability on Switch, and like I said, it's just the way I use it. You know, if you really use the system portably, then yeah, go for the Switch. That's great, whatever. But the gimmick for the Wii U, in my opinion, is just way better because it allows me to play games in a more fun way than just playing them on a TV. Yeah, so I don't know if this came off as like a rambling mess, but either way, I'm just explaining why I think the Wii U is really cool, and I'm not saying it, you know, go out and run and buy it instead of a Nintendo Switch. That would be extremely stupid. But the Wii U is definitely not a bad console. Anyone who said it was bad probably never used it or does not like Nintendo games and wouldn't like even the Switch anyway, so there you go. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to go off to install another 100 games that I'll never play.